turning 250, and it's time to rock out with our forefathers. American-made, battle-ready style for true patriots. Whether you're marching in the parade, grilling in the backyard, or raising a toast to liberty, do it in the gear that screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks. Screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks. Screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks.
From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Sports Bash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Hi again, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'm Peter Schwartz. Welcome to the show. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. Make sure you're subscribing to Govs Comedy Club podcast channel on YouTube and Facebook, and follow Sports Bash Media on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And now you can also listen to Sports Bash on Apple Music and Spotify. Later in the show, I'll be joined by Latino Sports and World Baseball Network reporter Julian Gugliarti, live from the baseball winter meetings in Orlando, and there is a lot to talk about the baseball winter meetings so far. Met fans not too happy today with the Edwin Diaz news, and we'll get to that with him later on in the show. And in case you missed it and just waking up, Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers, 3 years, $69 million. Tony Walker, my producer, he'll have his comments on it later in the show. But obviously, if you follow social media already today, you know there's a big implosion of Met fans today after seeing that news. We'll also have the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We'll have what's hot at ticketbash.com, and we'll also have the Coaches Collectibles item of the week. Well, there is a great event coming to UBS Arena on Wednesday night. It is the Shoresy Classic. It is the cast of the hit Hulu hockey-related show Shoresy taking on the Islanders alumni team, and we are very, very fortunate to have with us in studio today a member of that Islanders alumni team, and he was a terrific Islander, back in the 90s and part of that team that went to the conference final in 1993. We welcome to the show Benoit Hogue. Benoit, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, Peter, for having me.
And I know it's cold outside, but I mean, growing up in Canada, I mean, you're used to this. I mean, obviously, you played here you played in Buffalo for a while, and you played here on Long Island, so I'm sure you are fine with the cold.
Yeah, I don't mind the cold. Not sometime year-round all the time. But,
no, not year-round.
Yeah, but in Canada, that's where we grew up. We
right.
go from the snow probably till like, early September to October till like May.
Right. It seemed like here on Long Island, we didn't really have a fall.
No,
it was like an extended summer that just went into right now really ridiculous cold temperatures.
Yeah, but it's not that cold.
Not too cold. You can play a little hockey outside too when it's this cold
that's
outside.
Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect.
This is a pretty cool event tomorrow night. Obviously, so many hockey fans love the show Shoresy, which is on Hulu, and it's a show about a fictional senior hockey team that plays in Sudbury, Ontario, and those guys are nuts on that show, and you and a bunch of other former Islander players are going to take them on at UBS Arena. So tell me about this, and how excited are you to be part of this tomorrow night?
Well, I'm excited. When they told me about it, I was like, I didn't know much about the show, right? So I kind of looked at a few clips and everything, and I was like, okay. I didn't know, but I ended up talking to a lot of people that watch the show, love the show, and I think it's great. I think they've been touring against other alumni team, and I think it's going to be great at UBS.
I think one of the greatest things about the show is the chirping that goes on. And I think if you play hockey, whether you play as a kid deck hockey with no skates, or whether you play ice hockey growing up, NHL, juniors, whatever it is, there's always a lot of chirping.
It's part of the
ice.
game, yeah.
It is part of the game. So what do you think of the chirping in the show?
Well,
it's a little extreme, right?
It's a little extreme, but it's what happened. Like,
it is, yeah.
I watched a clip a little bit when he was like skiing at the blue line and tripping the other guy. So, but we have guys that have lines too.
Yeah.
I played with guys. Riff Rowe was one of the best at that.
Yeah.
Keith Acton, when he came, Keith Acton was one of the funniest guys.
Yeah.
Off the bench, like on the bench, on the ice or whatever, he was tripping guys, the lines that was coming out. He would be perfect for that show.
I would have thought Mick Fukuda was a pretty good chirper.
He is.
Yeah.
Like everybody is. Everybody is. I myself too, I can shoot some lines out there, but it's part of the game. And, when you're in a battle in the NHL real game, it's really real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, what was the funniest thing that was ever said to you, and what was the funniest thing you ever said to somebody else?
Oh, God, I don't know if I can say that, but,
you could. I don't know.
There's always little lines like put your purse down when you hit them, like things like that. But yeah, guys go at it all the time, especially the guys like Vincent and all these guys.
Yeah.
But it's the best just to hear some of that stuff. It's funny, but it's part of the show. So I think it's going to be some tomorrow.
Now, I wasn't sure what these games were all about, because after finding out about the show and then binge watching the first 4 seasons, and then you find out they played these games last year. They were 4 games last year. They doubled it to 8 NHL places that they were going to this year. And you watch it. I wasn't sure really what to expect. Is it like Harlem Globetrotters, where it's all orchestrated, or is it a real game? And we had Ryan McConnell from the show on here on Sports Bash a few weeks ago, and it does become a very competitive game. So when you've played at other alumni games before, what's the competitive level of those other games, and what do you expect tomorrow?
Well, I think every time we play, like we did the games versus the Rangers, it's all like we all know each other. It's a little bit of fun, but you're always competitive.
Oh, sure.
Like we play the Rangers, we always trying to win the game.
And the fans want you to win those games too, because the game last year at Northwell, the Garden was last year. The year before was in Northwell. The place was packed.
Yeah, that's the one that we lost.
Yeah,
that was lost, the first one. And now we went to MSG.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my God, their goal lower bowl was full and everything, and we ended up winning. But I think it's part of you want to go there, a good thing, but when you compete and the game is on, you're always trying to win. So I think it's going to be a little competitive.
When you look at their team, the Schwartz cast, obviously on the show, there's a number of former professional players. We talked off air. Patrick Waugh's son is on the show. 2 of Ted Nolan's sons are on the show. But the interesting thing to me is Terry Ryan was a first-round pick of the Montreal Canadiens, and he plays Ted Hitchcock on the show. And he's already missing. I don't know if he got it shooting the show or actually got it, but he's missing a tooth, so he looks like a hockey player. So that's got to be pretty cool for you as a former NHLer to see these guys not just in the show, but now in this game tomorrow. They've got a little cup of coffee in the NHL and the professional ranks.
Yeah, that's one thing. When they brought it up, I was worried a little bit. I'm like, wait, I haven't played a lot since I retired. I play men's league and I do a few charities, but looking at their roster, I'm like, some of these guys like play games in the NHL, some play colleges and stuff like that. So I'm a little worried. But
Ryan McConnell was a little worried when we had him on the show a few weeks ago, because he was looking at the rosters for some of the other alumni teams like Boston and Buffalo, and they played in Detroit. The day that we were doing the show, they were playing Detroit. I know they got Toronto, and I think they're going out to Calgary and stuff. But they were concerned. LA, I think, is later this week.
Yeah.
They were concerned about your team because you guys have some players who not very long ago were playing in the NHL. So Josh Bailey is on the alumni team this year. Cal Clutterbuck. You've got Matt Martin, Matt Molson, only a few years removed from playing professional hockey. So you guys might have, of the 8 games that the cast of Schwartz is playing, you guys might have the best roster.
Well, it's good to hear. When I heard that roster,
and of course, I'm a little biased too, being a lifelong Islander fan. So I want to think you guys have the best roster.
I'm glad the younger guys, not the young, but the younger guys are coming. And like you said, Kyle's playing, and then Matt Martin. It's going to be a little easier for me probably, but it's good to play with the younger crowd. But having a good roster helps.
Well, they got the characters on the show who play the 3 gyms. So they play on the hockey team, they play on the Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs, but they also, their real life job in the show is they work in a prison. So they're pretty tough guys. So if you've seen clips of these other games, they kind of get into it a little bit. And I know you might have been a little concerned about it getting a little too physical in this game. But you've got some muscle on this team. You've got Aaron Asham, you've got Steve Webb, you've got Matt Martin on this team. So you got some muscle. So I don't think you have. Eric Cairns is playing on the alumni team too.
Is in there. He's a big boy.
Yeah, is Boychuk playing?
Yes.
He's not on the roster that I was given.
Unless he bailed out.
He bailed out, or he was added to the roster.
Okay, because he was on my roster that I got like last week. So
okay, well, so hopefully
we have enough.
Regardless, I think you got enough muscle that if these guys try, some funny stuff in this game, I think you're going to be okay.
Yeah, these guys will recognize their job when they played, and if it gets a little physical, they'll step in. So
Rick DiPietro is scheduled to play, but he's not going to play goalie. You have Thomas Greiss.
Yes.
So you've got an NHL goalie that just played a couple of years ago too. I think you guys are going to wipe the floor with them tomorrow.
I'm pretty confident that this team's going to be good, and the fans are going to love it, and then hopefully, we're going to battle to win the game.
I think this is going to be a great event, and you can still get tickets for it at Ticketmaster.com. You can go to the Schwartz website also and get some more ticket information. The other thing, too, that they're doing, which is pretty cool tomorrow, is they have this meet and greet package. So if you get a certain ticket level, you get to meet you guys and also the cast of Schwartz. And I know for you, and not just playing here on the island, but in playing in the NHL, you always love to meet the fans, and there's a great chance for the fans to meet the players tomorrow. Yeah,
when the fans come and support these causes, what's a little time to spend with them after and sign some autograph and things like that. So, and living on Long Island, I know a lot of people that come into games tomorrow. I get to meet some new people that were at the game when I played. But it's always a good time.
And I should mention too, when the cast of Schwartz when they do these games, the Schwartz Classic, they do pick a charity in the market that they're going to. In this case, proceeds from the game are going to go to the Islanders Children's Foundation. And you and I both know Ann Rinna, who I've talked about it on this show. I've talked about it on the Fan and every other platform I'm on. She's a rock star. And the Islanders have always been so important to the Long Island community. But since she has run community relations, it's hard to imagine how she gets around to all of these things to do and has the staff to do all these things. And you played here and you know that, and you've been involved as an active alum. she is unbelievable at her job in getting the Islanders out involved with all these charitable outings.
She does. She does. Like you said, so much is thrown at her to set up everything. And there's a girl that you can text on any time at night or whatever. She'll answer you. She'll get back to you the next day.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work, but she gets it done. So great event she's doing.
No question. Benoit Hogue is my guest, former Islander. The Islanders alum are going to take on the cast of Shoresy Wednesday night, UBS Arena. The tickets are still available. It's the Shoresy Classic. The cast of Shoresy against the Islanders alumni team. Is there a player you're going to be playing with tomorrow that you're really looking forward to seeing that maybe you haven't seen in a while? Are we going to run down the list? So Clutterbuck Bailey, Matt Molson, Rob Schremp, Aaron Asham, Steve Webb, Rick DiPietro, Kevin Colley, Zenon Konopka, Matt Martin, Dennis Seidenberg, Eric Cairns, who works for the Islanders front office, Radek Martinek, who I've seen him skate because he still coaches and teaches hockey. Yep. That guy can still skate. I think if the Islanders needed a seventh defenseman, I think he could still play. Thomas Hickey, who's not far removed. Yeah. Bruno Gervais, Chris Campoli, and Thomas Grice in goal. So I'm sure a lot of guys on that list are guys you like to see tomorrow night.
Well, these guys, I've seen them last year. They pretty much all show up last year. And some of them I've seen in a few years back. But to me, it looks like when I look at the roster, it was like, okay, it's like I saw these guys, or I skated with them like short time ago. But I'm looking forward. They're a great bunch of guys. Like I said, they're a little bit younger than me, but they're a great group of guys, and then I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, we'll see if you can light the lamp there tomorrow night. I think it's going to be a wide open game. I'm sure there'll be some physicality involved in there tomorrow night.
I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of bumping and stuff like that, but it's part of the game. So.
I wonder what they'll do if there's a penalty, because a lot of times in these alumni games, when there's a penalty, they don't have a power play. They just have a penalty shot. Yeah. What was your experience in a penalty shot? Because I'm sure it could come up in the game tomorrow, and you were a pretty nifty goal scorer in your day. You're ready to take a penalty shot tomorrow night if you're called on?
Of course I'll do it. I've had two in my carear, and I was successable twice.
So, good. You could probably help the Islanders in the shootout right now, because they have
we'll see how it goes tomorrow. The goalies are a lot bigger and a lot, better physically.
So let's talk about your time with the Islanders, too, because it was short. It was only a few years, but you came to the Islanders in the Pat LaFontaine trade, and almost immediately you became a fan favorite, to the point where, so many Islander players in the past have had nicknames, and the fans would chant, whether it was Bossy, and you got your whole name in the chant. People would be yelling Benoit Hogue when you scored a goal. What was? Let me go back to 91 when you first found out you were being traded to the Islanders. What was your reaction, and how much did you enjoy your time here after that?
Well, in Buffalo, I was a little surprised. That morning, I went down for the skate. I got in the locker room like an everyday thing, getting ready. Some guys are already on the ice. Pierre was already on the ice shooting pucks. And John Muckler, that was there at the time, joined the Sabres, came to me, and he goes, before you step on the ice, go see Jerry Meehan, which was our general manager. So he goes, before you, and I was getting dressed. So I was putting my skates on, and he goes, before you get on, just go see Jerry in the office. And I was like, okay. I didn't think of a trade. I was just like, okay, what is it? Maybe.
Had you heard the rumors that Pat was unhappy here?
I've heard a little bit that he had the issue where he wasn't signing and everything, but you heard around the league, but I never thought it was something that he was coming to Buffalo. Yeah. You think he's going to go probably somewhere else or whatever, but
big market maybe.
Big market, big team contenders or whatever, stuff like that. So, but in the morning, that's what I went. I just went to Jerry and I sat down, and he goes to me, we just made a trade this morning and you're part of it. And I was like, oh, okay. And, he goes, you start talking to me about things. I'm like, I just want to know, where am I going? He goes, you're going to New York. And I was like,
you had to think Rangers right away.
Well, right? That's what I thought. I'm like, am I going to the Rangers? He goes, no, you're going to the Islanders. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because, being in Buffalo for 4 years, you come here, you get off the plane, you get on the bus, you see the Marriott, you see the Coliseum. Yeah. So I didn't know much about Long Island. So, but I'm like, okay. And I said, is it a one-on-one? What is it? He goes, no. He goes, it's like a 4-player against the 3. He told me Turgeon and everything. So I get back to the locker room to get changed. I never stepped on the ice that morning, obviously. But and I saw Turge coming in and then throwing his gloves in his stall and his stick. And then I'm like, Turge, we'll be fine. Turge was a little disappointed. Yeah. He was a fan favorite there, too. But that's what happened. I say, it is what it is. It's happening. We're going to go to New York. We're going to make the best out of it. And we came here, I'm still a friend with Pierre today. We played like I said, with the Buffalo and the Islanders, we played the first 8 years of our career together. And we live in Buffalo next to each other. Same thing on the island. Everybody lives in Arlington. I moved Glenn ahead. He moved by me. So, but that's the day I remember. And I remember after there was the trade with LaFontaine and the thing happened. So we came here, met the new guys. Al Arbor was great. The players were great. They welcomed us. And that was in October, I believe, 25th.
The season had just started.
Yeah, just a few games into the season.
And I could vouch for the fact that you and Pierre were so well liked in Buffalo, because I was a student at Buffalo State College when you guys started with the Sabres. And as loved as you were in Buffalo, I think it was just about instantaneous, because I think the fans here, it took them a minute to get over the fact that Pat LaFontaine was getting traded. Yeah. But you guys came in, and the Islanders had dug themselves a little bit of a hole, and you finished the season so strong, just barely missing the playoffs, that I think the fans immediately sensed that something special was about to happen. When you got here, did you sense that the fans were hungry and wanted to see this team succeed so badly?
Well, I think when we got here playing the first few games, we just had to get to know the fans, kind of, the fans showing up, how they react in the games, and but it was I felt a little more free, a little bit, to play my game. Al came and he goes, "Listen, I want you to play your best. I want you to work. You're a great player," and that's what we did. But I realized after when we start winning and doing well and doing better, that the fans enjoyed. The fans are great fans here. They had the rough years with the Islanders, but they always trying to show up at the game. Yeah. But like I said, we finished strong. We didn't make the playoff. We're looking forward to the next year, which we had a great season, a great playoff run. So great. I loved it here.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about '93 because obviously when you think about post dynasty, there weren't really a whole lot of years that Islander fans can gravitate towards as being successful. A few years ago, there was the back-to-back runs to the semifinals, but you were part of that magical team in '93, and let's remember, you guys beat the Capitals in the first round, and in that Game 6, that's when Dale Hunter laid the hit on Pierre, and you didn't have Pierre for most of the Pittsburgh series. You wind up stunning them, and had it not been for a couple of questionable officiating calls, you guys might have beaten the Canadians too. But Al Arbor was really, I remember covering one of those press conferences after the overtime game of the Coliseum, and Al exploded saying, "It's clear the NHL wants the Canadians in the Stanley Cup final." But talk about that run, because it kind of came really out of nowhere. You had made the playoffs, and it was the first time in a few years the Islanders were in the playoffs. What was that spring like for you, playing for the Islanders and playing in front of a packed Coliseum through all those playoff games, and just being part of kind of like a rebirth of the franchise really during that spring?
It was, and it was for me and Pierre, and then Yui Krug that came in, and so was Dave McElwain, that being traded, you want to come to a team where, you want to do well with the team. So that was magical that year, I think. I think we got in, like I said, we started against Washington. There was a lot of things like Washington, the Islanders, they were going to run us out, over and stuff like that. And we ended up winning. Ferraro had great playoff that year, overtime goals. The team played good. I think we built that chemistry, and we had fun playing together.
Yeah.
I think everybody was buying into what Al was saying. It wasn't matter who scored our goals, who had to do what. Everybody did their job, and we showed in the first round. And now it comes Pittsburgh, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. So we knew it was going to be tough. With losing Pierre was really tough. Pierre, we knew he wasn't going to play. Even I talked to him recently when we were talking about it. He goes, "I had to tell Game 7 I'm dressing. I want to be on the bench. I want to be with the guy."
He played on the power play
He played on the power play. We could have used him on the power play. You don't get touched much on the power play, but for Pierre, it's just to be with the guys. He want to be on the bench. He want to be part of it. He want to kind of pump the guys out there, being there. And we appreciate that he was with us, and even if he couldn't play. So, Game 7. It happened, and then
David Volek of all guys.
Listen, every ball I can put the puck in the net. I've seen him so many years that I was there. The guy can score. Sometimes he's under the radar all the time. He comes up with big goals, and that was a huge goal.
It's amazing. So he was in and out of Al's doghouse for a couple of years there, and there was.
I've been there too.
Yeah, well,
everybody's been there.
But for the
Al
point,
a lot of room for a lot of guys.
And we've heard that from the Stanley Cup guys too. I don't think there was a player that ever escaped Al's wrath when he was angry about something.
Yeah, I think he was a lot meaner back then. When I talked to the older guys, he was a little more gentle with us when I came in '93.
Yeah,
but still, the things that he would say, you get it.
It resonated too.
Of
he
course.
actually yelled at me a couple of times too because he didn't like a couple of questions. And but
He-
then he would apologize to me. Actually, the couple of times he screamed at me when I would ask a question in the scrum after the game, and I would look around. I'm like, did I ask a stupid question? And people said no. He was just in a bad mood. And the next game, he would come up to me and say, I apologize. I was just trying to get a point across there.
He was in a moment of the game, probably after the game. That happens.
So you only played for him, for a couple of years there, but obviously his work with the Stanley Cup dynasty and the 4 straight cups. And for you as a player, what did it mean to play for Al those handful of years? And what did you learn from him? How did he make you a better player?
Well, when I came here, I didn't know. I knew who Al was coming to play for somebody. I was drafted in '85 by Buffalo, which Scotty Bowman was their general manager. So for me to be drafted by Scotty Bowman in a way, second round in Buffalo, it's something I always remember. And now I'm coming from Buffalo and play for Al Arbor with the dynasty and all the Stanley Cup. I didn't know. I was the quiet kid. I came in, and all he said, he goes, I just want you to play your game. You got to play both ways. Just work. Just go out there and do your thing. And when I start playing, things happening, and I built confidence. But at some point, I was having some rough patches.
Yeah.
I remember a game we practiced at Nassau Coliseum in the morning, leaving for Chicago in the afternoon. And Al came to me and Travis Green. He goes, "You guys are not coming to Chicago. You stay here."
Really?
And we're like, "You're joking, right?" He goes, "No, you're staying back. You can watch the game on TV." Because we're in a slump. They like our game.
You didn't even get to travel.
We didn't travel. I got out after practice. The trainers are packing your equipment. Your hockey bag is there. Mine wasn't there. I just hung my equipment and I went home. I didn't go to Chicago.
Wow.
I didn't make the trip.
But you understood what the point he was trying to get across.
Of course,
and
I
he had a way of doing
understand that. I got to be better. I got to play better. I got to work harder. And then I think I came back and I scored a number of goals in so many games. And but I understand how it was simple. He would tell you things and you would think about it and he goes, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right.
You brought up something before that I had on my notes that I wanted to make sure I brought up, and it's about playing for the Islanders and playing here on Long Island. I was just having this conversation with my wife yesterday, talking about you coming on the show. And there was always this stigma around the Islanders because there was a lot of free agents over the years that would never come here to play. They would take less money to go play for another team. And I think a big part of the problem is that, here on the island, I don't think a lot of the leaders do a very good job, or in the past, didn't do a very good job of promoting everything that Long Island has to offer. And I bring you up because you brought up before, I think most visiting players come to play the Islanders, and back then, you only know the walk from the Marriott to the Coliseum. You don't get to see Jones Beach, you don't get to go out to Montauk, you don't get to see everything that Long Island has in common. But when players come here, whether it's a trade or they're drafted or they really have no other choice but to come here, they fall in love with it. So you fell in love with it. You finished your NHL career elsewhere, but you came back here to Long Island, and this is where you live. So did you have that preconceived thought of Long Island, and did that change when you came to the Islanders, and what made you want to make Long Island your year-round home?
Well, when I first got traded, I went back home. I was going back to Buffalo, sell the house, and I usually go to Montreal for the summers. And my second year at the Islanders, I said, I'm going to spend the summer here. So I get to know Long Island, like you said. I get to know a lot of people, and I enjoy it. And over the years I was here, at one point I was a single guy, doing stuff, hanging out, doing hockey with friends. And I end up, meeting Kristen, that's my fiancée today, years ago. And then she's from here, and I want to live here, and we're here. So, but Long Island to me, like you said, it's got everything. You have a city close by. You got Jones Beach. You got the Hamptons. It's not a long drive for me to go to Montreal. It's a 6.5-hour drive. It's easy.
That depends on how fast you're driving.
Well, 6.5 hours is not 70, but I'm not gonna say I beat that record before. But that's what I like about Long Island. I think it's got everything. Like we talked earlier, like the winters are not crazy.
Yeah.
We didn't have much snow last year, whatever, or almost none. So I just love it. Like I said, I made it my home. We live here. We got plenty of friends out here, family and neighbors and stuff. And then this is home for me.
What do you think of the current Islanders? Obviously, that's a lot of excitement around the team with Matthew Schaefer, the first overall pick, and the start that he's off to, and the Islanders are right there battling for a playoff spot. I don't think too many people thought that was possible. I'm sure you follow the Islanders very closely now. What do you think of the current team?
I like it. I like the current team. I think, there was like some rough times, last couple of years when Patrick first came and everything, but I play against Patrick. Patrick's a competitor. That's how he played, and you got to give him credit. He's a winner and everything, and he comes here, trying to learn the team and learn the players, and the team now is doing well. Schaefer comes in. I think it's a burst of energy. Great player. I pretty much go to pretty much all the games if I can, if I'm not out of town. But just watching that kid is amazing. That just turned 18, and I think he's a boost of energy for the team also. And now they're playing well, and then they're on a ride that they're going to continue on that.
Maybe I'm a little nuts, but I was thinking about comparisons, and Emil Heineman, who came to the Islanders in the trade that sent Noah Dobson to Montreal. I look at him, I see a little bit of you. Left-handed shot, really good shot. He could skate very well. What are your thoughts on him? And he has really made a big impact in his first year.
I like him. Like being from Montreal, I have friends from Montreal, and they're disappointed they lost that kid in their organization, that he's here and he's doing so well. But yeah, I can see like the guy like that. Like I think go to the net when he has the chance, he can put the puck in and stuff like that. I think it's a great. I think Matthew Darche, I think, made a great. For me, I think it was a good deal that he made.
Yeah.
Getting some good players in young, and then like I said, the future looks good for the Islanders. I think they're young. I think they have the chemistry and the team's playing together. It looks good.
Can you believe how good Schaefer is so quickly? 18. He's just 18 in September.
I like I told people, I was in my when I signed with Tampa Bay as a free agent. Vincent Lecavalier came as an 18-year-old. He was the first overall. He came, and I played with him the first season. He didn't have the impact of what Schaefer is having with the Islanders, and he was the first overall, and he was a very skilled guy. And we all know Vinny's career was amazing, but he had to take a year to adjust to the league. And I think Schaefer just stepped right in the first game of the season. And as it is today, it's amazing for a kid that just turned 18, the impact that he's having. He's a great player.
We have a couple of minutes left, a couple more questions. Being home here on Long Island also means you get a chance to coach kids here on the island. And, we've had a couple of off-the-air conversations about the challenge of coaching kids. How much do you enjoy it? And give our viewers a sense of how Benoit Hogue is as a coach as opposed to how he was as a player.
Well, I know what I was as a player, right? And as a coach, we'd have to ask my player. But, I took these kids when they turned 13. It's my 5th year with them. They're 18. I got to say 18, it's a little tougher now.
Yeah.
Kids got more freedom driving and everything.
Their mouths also get bigger when they turn 18.
Of course. But they still talk good to me, but they kind of tell me some stuff, and I know better. Yes. So I told them, like, don't bold me with that. Just tell me the truth and everything. But they're great. I enjoy it. I think, my way of coaching is like when the game starts, I watch the game, obviously, because I'm the coach, but I'm like, when they come to the bench, I would tell them something to look at me. And I teach because that's what I would have done with the puck.
Right.
When there's a 2-on-1, when I know that pass should have been made and he doesn't make it and he comes back, I'll tell him, you need to move the puck.
Right.
And they're like, oh, the guy this. I'm like, no, because I put myself in their position, kind of. But I try to make it fun for them. So I think the more fun you have as a team, the better you go out and play.
Is the hardest thing about coaching kids, teaching them what you talk about having the puck on your stick, but I would think the toughest thing to teach a kid is to play without the puck and being in the right spot on the ice. And I think you've seen a lot of players get up to the NHL and they score, 90 goals in juniors and 30 goals in college, whatever it is. They get to the NHL and they don't do anything. Yep. And I think it's their play without the puck.
Well, it's about it's about reading the play. I think it's the IQ that when you get out there, if you don't have the puck, you know what to do. If you're just floating around waiting for the puck to come back to you, you're not really helping out.
Right.
So a lot of kids, just a funny story. I had 2 weeks ago, I was dressing up with my kids at practice, and we did a little scrimmage. And I had one kid when the puck was in one end, one kid was waiting at the far blue line. And these kids will make the long pass that could go on a breakaway. I'm like, okay, let's stop this. We're going to play the 2 line now. The red line's back on. These kids look at me, they had no idea. And I'm like, he goes, what do you mean 2 line? I'm like, they didn't know that. But that's how crazy it is. These kids were, they're 2008 Burt years, so.
In addition to playing in the Shoresy Classic tomorrow with the Islanders alumni team, it is an Islanders alumni weekend. So you're going to get to see not just guys who are playing in the game tomorrow, but some other former teammates. I know John Ledecky and the new ownership group, if you played one game with the Islanders, they treat you like you played 500 games with the Islanders. How cool is this weekend always for you to see some people maybe that you haven't seen in a while, and you get a chance to reminisce this weekend?
Well, that's what the weekend is. I think they bring back so many guys that wear the jersey. They do a whole weekend alumni. They set up a dinner on the Friday. We go to the Islander game on the Saturday. It's a good time. It's like, it's a day that, like you said, you get there, you say hello, you talk, you hear new stories, what they're doing and stuff like that. Doing that, John Ledecky, what he did with that, I think has been amazing. And every year,
and he's been able to bring back guys who have not been back in a long time. They've John Tonelli was away from the team for a long time. So to be embraced by the organization again has to be really amazing for not just yourself, but everybody that's ever put an Islander jersey on.
Yeah, especially the older guys in the Cup years. I think, to bring back everybody, like I said, we're all getting old a little bit. These guys are getting older than me. I'm getting old, but, to see guys that I play with coming back and enjoy the weekend, or the older guys, it's priceless. And then, you know what, they share a moment in their career that we come back on these weekend and we get together again and have some laughs. And it's nice. And
this is not just any alumni weekend, because on Saturday, it's one of the very special days in Islanders history, and Pat LaFontaine is going to be inducted into the Islanders Hall of Fame. And I know you didn't play with him, but you're attached at the hip because of the trade that sent him to Buffalo, and came, you and Pierre and Krupp came here to Long Island. But when you see that LaFontaine is going to be in the Islanders Hall of Fame on Saturday, what did you think of him as a player, playing against him, and how appropriate is this that the Islanders honor him on Saturday?
I think it's the right call. I think it could have been done before, and it didn't happen.
Should have been done before.
Yes, it should have been done before. And Patty, like I said in the past, I saw him. He was an attraction in Montreal as a 16-year-old in the Quebec League. He came, with the Islanders, and had a great career, young player. Awesome playmaker, awesome goal scorer, great team guy. So
and a great guy with what he does with his charity.
Great guy, Companion and Courage, does a lot of build computer rooms in hospital for kids. Everything he does, his outing, the camaraderie, and then the people that he brings in. It's just a good time, and then that I'm looking forward, and I'm very happy for him on Saturday.
So at the last thing, at the risk of being just a little tad unprofessional, because people always say to me, how do you cover a team that you root for? I'm like, well, I've been able to do it. I covered the Islanders, I've covered the Jets and the Yankees and the Knicks and all that stuff. But sometimes you have to kind of play both sides of it. So at the sound of being a little bit unprofessional, I was wondering if you would do me the honor of signing this Islanders puck for me.
Of course.
See, there you go. There's a viral moment here on Sports Bash. How Peter acting like an immature person and Benoit Hogue signing the puck. Pretty cool. That's awesome.
Awesome.
I can't thank you enough. I know it's a big night tomorrow against the cast of Shoresy.
Yep.
Islanders alumni. It's 7 o'clock face-off, I think it is, tomorrow night at UBS Arena. There's still some tickets available. Benoit Hogue and the Islanders alumni team against the cast of Shoresy. Thank you, my friend, for coming in.
Thanks, Peter.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Benoit Hogue, Islanders alum. Don't forget the Shoresy Classic tomorrow. We're back with more Sports Bash coming up right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
visit the Embassy Diner located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,600 families, raising over $44 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $7,100 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 84 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Head Start Fund. I'm Peter Schwartz. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. How awesome was that, having Benoit Hogue in studio? And I'm like that little fanboy. How about that? And my wife is like, another piece of sports memorabilia comes in the house. Yeah, so we'll find a place for it. But that was great, talking to him about the game tomorrow night, Islanders alumni against the cast of Shoresy, and that should be a lot of fun. And I think, he only played, we brought this up on the interview, he only played a couple of years for the Islanders, but he still gets a huge ovation. And all you have to do here in New York, and this goes for any team, you have a moment in the playoffs, you have a run, people will always remember. The Islanders did not win the Stanley Cup in 1993, but they created so many great memories that spring, and Islander fans of age will always remember what Benoit Hogue meant to that Islanders team, and it's great to see him still living here on Long Island and being a part of the Islanders alumni. I had all kinds of stuff that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the Jets. I wanted to talk about the Giants. And I wanted to talk about Notre Dame getting left out of the college football playoff. But it always happens right before the show. Something happens in the world of sports. And Tony Walker, my producer and the host of the Knock 'em Dead comedy show that you can hear and watch here on Governor's Comedy Club podcast Monday through Friday from 11 to 12:30. The first person I thought of, well, I can't say it was Tony, but my family was the first person. I immediately got a text from my son Bradley and a phone call. But I thought of all Met fans when the news broke that Edwin Diaz earlier today at the baseball winter meetings agreed to a 3-year, $69 million deal with the Dodgers. So he is going, the rich get richer. You ever hear that expression? So the Dodgers, back-to-back World Series champions, and they get one of the best closers in baseball, and Edwin Diaz going to the Dodgers. And you think about, like, what does this mean for the Mets? Obviously, they signed Devin Williams away from the Yankees, so he is now immediately the Mets closer. But I don't think this signals positive vibes for Met fans. I think when you have a guy like him that became one of these great closers and so beloved by the Mets, and it doesn't seem like a crazy number to me. I know $69 million over 3 years may seem like a lot, but man, this guy was a shutdown closer, a really important piece of the Mets. And listen, you can never have enough pitching, and you had a chance to do basically what the Yankees did with Devin Williams and just add him as another arm in the bullpen, and the Mets decide to let him walk, which I don't understand. And it makes you wonder now, if you're Pete Alonso, what are you thinking now? Like, did the Mets do this to save money for Alonso, or is Pete Alonso now going to say, well, wait a second, now you just let the closer walk out the door. Why would I re-sign with the Mets? So I'll turn it over to our resident Met fan here on the show, Tony. What was your reaction when you heard the news today?
You know, he had a great year, but he's been a little off and on with the Mets. So I can't say I was totally surprised, because it did seem like the Mets, with him and Pete, they're just kind of letting him. Yeah, they're not really. I don't think pursuing anything.
I don't think David Stearns likes to use Steve Cohen's checkbook. I think that's the problem here. I think
that's what it seems like.
He came up through the Brewers organization, and I think he's. I don't want to say he's frugal, but I think he's got his idea of how to build this Mets team.
I'm hoping there's going to be some blockbuster moves here, because right now, again, between Diaz and Pete, it just seems like he's just sitting back, not doing anything.
Yeah, and kind of like what the Yankees are doing right now too. And Met fans were kind of like reveling in the Yankees fans' agony over the last couple of days, because since that first edition of Yankee Hot Stove on Yes, when Jack Curry kind of insinuated that the Yankees might not get Cody Bellinger back and might not be able to go get a Kyle Tucker and might not be able to go out and make some moves, like Met fans are like, oh, I see, have Steve Cohen's money, and now Steve Cohen and the Mets are letting Edwin Diaz walk out the door and across the country to the Dodgers, and you see the reaction. I don't know how much you've been on social today. I've been following it this morning. Met fans are ready to jump off a cliff about this.
Yes, yeah, and then especially if Pete goes, I mean that will send them over the cliff.
Right, and it's amazing. And again, it intertwines with Devin Williams, because remember, Devin Williams threw that pitch to Pete Alonso that sent the Mets to the next round of the playoffs, and it kind of changed this, perception of Pete amongst Met fans, which, we talked about this on the show, that, I think most Met fans were kind of relegated to the fact that Pete was not going to come back last year, and he does come back. And now we're going through the same thing again. And this time I'm going to question whether or not I think Pete Alonso wants to come back. He could say till the cows come home that he wants to be a Met for life. And believe me, I respect any player that wants to stay in the same uniform, because you just don't see that happen in modern day sports here. But if I'm Pete Alonso now, I have to question, like, what's the direction of this team? Like, if I want to win a World Series, am I going to get that chance in the next 3, 4, or 5 years with the Mets? And that may be something that's weighing on his mind now.
I agree 100%, Peter. It's crazy.
So that came out of nowhere this morning, and we'll talk some more when we come back here on the program, because coming up next, we're going to talk a lot of baseball. Latino sports and World Baseball Network reporter Julian Guillarti will join us live from the baseball winter meetings in Orlando. We'll talk about the Edwin Diaz signing with the Dodgers. There's some other baseball news that broke before the show started. I'll check social media, before we come back from the next break to see if I missed anything, but we'll talk to Julian about that. We also have What's Hot at TicketBash.com, the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, and the Coach's Collectibles item of the week, all coming up when we come back right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our...
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,600 families, raising over $44 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $7,100 each. And your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 84 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
45 minutes of...
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and the Ryan Anthony Heating and Air Conditioning Service. I'm Peter Schwartz. Phone number to call is 516-465-3990 is the number to call. And right now we're going to go to the baseball winter meetings in Orlando, and a lot of stuff to talk about with our next guest here on the show. Latino sports and World Baseball Network reporter Julian Guilarty is live at the baseball winter meetings in Orlando. Julian, it's Peter. How are you? Julian, can you hear me? We see Julian, we just can't hear him. Julian, can you hear us?
We're good on our end.
All right, we're obviously having some technical. We see Julian, he's there. We just can't hear him yet. So we'll get back to Julian in just a moment here, while we try to fix those technical difficulties. Let's go to what's hot at TicketBash.com. On the sports calendar, the Islanders host the Vegas Golden Knights tonight at UBS Arena. The Anaheim Ducks come into UBS on Thursday, and then on Saturday, the Islanders host the Tampa Bay Lightning at UBS Arena. It is Pat LaFontaine Day as he gets inducted into the Islanders Hall of Fame. Tomorrow night, it's the Shoresy Classic at UBS Arena. Then St. John's will host Iona Saturday at the Garden. And Saturday night, the Rangers host the Canadians. Sunday, the Giants host the Commanders at MetLife Stadium. Upcoming shows and concerts, Z100's Jingle Ball is coming to the Garden on December 12th. And WWE Monday Night Raw coming to Barclays Center on January 5th. Get the best seats at the best prices with no service fees at TicketBash.com. We think we have fixed our technical problems. We welcome in Latino sports and World Baseball Network reporter Julian Guilarty live at the baseball winter meetings in Orlando. Julian, it's Peter. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but I appreciate the invite. And we finally got some action on the Mets side. Not the news they want, but Edwin Diaz is going to the Dodgers. That's a big blow.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up first. Obviously, that broke 3 years and $69 million. And obviously, Met fans are in a state of panic over this, and the rich get richer with the Dodgers. Talk to me about your thoughts on this deal as the Dodgers sign Edwin Diaz away from the Mets.
Surprised that the Mets wouldn't go higher, especially in the competition against the Dodgers. That's like a big blow to them and like several different assets. Because not only do they lose them, you give them to the World Series favorite again and just make them even better with the one weakness they might have had. And they've solidified their bullpen now, the Dodgers, with that. And they might add someone else too. And the Mets they're going to have Devin Williams, which I think will be good. I know most people want him to set up Diaz, so they won't be as excited about it. But at least they gave themselves some insurance.
And from a Mets standpoint now, you wonder how this affects their chances of bringing Pete Alonso back. There's two schools of thought. Did the Mets not bring Diaz back to have the money to bring Alonso back? Or does now Pete Alonso say, well, maybe I don't want to go back to the Mets because now they're not as good as they were 24 hours ago?
I think it's an interesting dynamic because I kind of thought it was one or the other type situation. I didn't think they would both return. I leaned more towards Diaz, and I thought Alonso would go to Boston, which I definitely think is still possible. He's here meeting with them in the Orioles, apparently, so that's something. And Stearns was kind of just like, well, he knows our contact, like we'll talk to him when we need to type of deal. So there's not like a specific meeting with him, I don't think.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll change that since they lost Diaz. Maybe it's more urgent since they lost Diaz, but we're going to have to see how they pivot. Do they try to sign a guy like Robert Suarez maybe to help the bullpen a little bit? It wouldn't cost as much, maybe like a 2-year deal.
There was some conversation that I read on social media that the Mets maybe would want to talk to Kyle Schwarber, but now that's out the door because the Phillies have re-signed Schwarber to a 5-year deal worth $150 million. And you look at that deal, at first you think, wow, that's a lot of money. But I mean, when you think about what he has done for the Phillies, it almost seems like a team-friendly deal to bring Schwarber back at that price.
I think so too, because there was a bunch of teams in there. Even the Pirates threw a 4 for 120 at him, supposedly. So that was showing that they're trying to do stuff. But I always thought it was Philly. I'm just surprised it took so long. So I was like starting to doubt a little bit, but they still figured it out. So we'll see how that looks. The Mets, I mean, there's a few other fallbacks besides Alonso, I guess. Do they want to try like Ryan O'Hearn to get a lefty in there or something? Do they go for Okamoto in the Japanese market maybe to play the corners as a right-handed bat? They want to try to balance more after Simeon. So they still have options. There's a trade route, obviously, so we'll see.
Let's turn our attention, Julian, to the Yankees, and there's so much talk and so much innuendo, with Hal Steinbrenner told reporters the other day, what Brian Cashman has said. There seems to be this idea or this theory that maybe the Yankees are not going to open up the wallet to try and bring Cody Bellinger back or go after Kyle Tucker. What are you hearing from the Yankees camp? Is it fair for a Yankee fan to expect that the Yankees will do something in Orlando at the winter meetings?
I mean, I'd like to say yes, but like I'm not fully sure because they're not like.
That's not the answer I was looking for, Julian. I'm a Yankee fan.
Okay. I'll tell you this though. I think that Boris was saying that they said there's no limit, and like there's not actually a limit, but there hasn't been a discuss. I don't know how much payroll they have, but like there's no set like they have to be under 300 mandate. I don't believe because like if you bring back Bellinger, you're automatically over. I think the Mets may push on Bellinger now too a little bit, especially if they lose Alonso, but. It really depends. I would like to see the Yankees go for Kyle Tucker. I don't know if that's in the cards, and maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe there's a trade brewing with like Brenton Donovan or something. There's been a lot of chatter about that. Maybe they try to trade for a starting pitcher. I know Jack Curry was mentioning they might trade someone rather than sign someone. I brought up Amai to Boris, and he was like, the Yankees have talked to me about multiple players. He gave like the agent answer, basically.
He's got to stop with those nursery rhymes when people ask him about a player, and it's so orchestrated. It's gotten kind of goofy and wacky. I'm getting kind of sick of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't confirm or deny a meeting with Amai, so I don't know if that's happening, but hopefully they do that because I would like to see them pursue the guy. I think he's a pretty good pitcher. Maybe a Mike King reunion's in the cards. On the lesser degree if they want to add to the pitching, but I know they're hunting righty bats. Ahmed Rosario's going forward. I know that's not that exciting, but he can stabilize the bench to return. So we'll have to see. I want to say the Yankees will do something before leaving the trip.
I got to think also.
Say they get something done in the next 2 days.
I'm sorry, Julian. I got to think also. The Yankees have to, as much as they need to get a Bellinger or a Tucker back, I think they also need to get a frontline starting pitcher because they're going to start the year without Garrett Cole, Rodon, and Schmidt, and so when they're fully healthy, they'll be fine. But I think the Yankees may want to get a reinforcement in the starting rotation to at least start the year.
Yeah, that's why I'm interested in the Amai discussions to try to see if there's anything going on there. I know the Yankees have some interest, but like I don't know how sincere that is at this point. I don't think Framber Valdez is Yankee material for a few different reasons. I mean, like I said, Mike King makes some sense maybe.
I'd love to see them. No, I was as much as Juan Soto helped the Yankees for that 1 year. I hated to see the Yankees include Michael King in that trade.
Yeah, that was tough to part with, and he could stabilize them. You don't need him to be an ace. He could be like a solid 3 for them between like 3 or like a 2 maybe if they want to go Cole, King, Fried, or like Rodon, however they want to do that. But like we know King can pitch in New York. He just has to stay healthy. He's durable when he's healthy now. He threw 170 plus innings in 24 or 23, but yeah.
And last thing, what do you think? What do you think will be the biggest move that's left over the next couple of days?
I guess if we're looking at offense, maybe Yankees getting Bellinger.
Well, I'm talking about in general, like for all the
Okay.
teams that have gathered down there. What do you think is
I'll
the
give
big
you
name
one.
we're going to hear about in the next 24 to 48 hours?
All right, watch for Tucker and Bo Bichette. I can see the Blue Jays doing something. They seem like they're itching still after getting Dylan Cease. I would say maybe the Blue Jays secure Bo or Bo or Tucker. Maybe the Mets get Valdez. I'm hearing conflicting stuff about how much they want to pay him, if they're willing to break their model on the starting pitching contracts, which they probably should because that didn't work too well last year. But we'll have to see if they're going to do it. If they trade for like a Freddie Peralta, maybe he gets moved or something like that.
Julian, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I know it's kind of busy. It's crazy, hectic. It's Jack Curry I was texting with Jack Curry earlier, and he said it's kind of like organized chaos down there at the winter meeting. So I appreciate you were able to take a few minutes out of your day, and let's try and catch up again soon.
Thank you so much, and I'd like to have you on my show at some point too. Maybe when I come home and things settle down. And Jack's definitely right. The first two moves set us into chaos today. The first 2 days were kind of chill. Now we're like, oh boy, okay, now we're here.
Well, Julian, you got my number, so you have your people call my people.
That sounds good. Thank you, Peter.
You've got it.
Tony, thanks as well. So I appreciate both of you.
Thanks, Julian Guilarty from the World Baseball Network and Latino Sports joining us live from the baseball winter meetings, and it has already been an eventful day down in Orlando. It is time now for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. It is brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. We post a poll question every Tuesday and Thursday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. This is for Jet fans. Should Brady Cook start the last 4 games of the season? And you know how I feel about this because I brought this up a couple of weeks ago. I mean, what would be the harm in letting this guy play? He winds up getting into the game Sunday because Tyrod Taylor got hurt. I don't think there's any reason, barring an injury to Brady Cook, I don't think there's any reason to get any more looks at Tyrod Taylor or Justin Fields. I think the Jets should absolutely let Brady Cook play the last 4 games. So the answers were simple, yes or no. Yes, Tony? Yes. Thank you for agreeing with me. I appreciate it. The check is in the mail. Yes, Brady Cook there's no question he should play the last 4 games. It's time for the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. And what we have for you is this: Gary, Keith, and Ron, the best booth in baseball, autographed baseball, and they were all at Mulcahy's over the weekend. And there were, I saw videos and pictures, there were millions of people there, and among the millions was our good friend and producer, Tony Walker. And I have to bring Tony in. Tony, how was the event, and how much did you enjoy meeting those 3 guys?
I loved it. It was a great time. All 3 of them were in good spirits for the most part, and it was a great time. Really great time.
Yeah, Gary Cohen is great. Did you drop my name to anybody?
I did drop it to Dom.
To Dom, okay.
I did. So I met Dom really quick.
You could have dropped it to Gary also. Gary, when I covered the Mets all the time, I used to see Gary all the time at the games, and he was always amazed at the relationship between me and my wife Cheryl, because he was like, how could a Yankee fan marry a Met fan? So every time I would see him at a game, he would be like, oh, so how's your wife, the Mets fan? How's that working out? I'm like, well, we haven't played in the World Series yet, so because we weren't together in 2000,
right? So
that might have been a problem. But Gary was always funny. Like every time I would see him, and then a few years ago, I brought Jared up to the press box to meet all 3 of them, and he met Gary Cohen and took a picture with him, and goes, I like your dad. I don't like his baseball team. I prefer his wife's baseball team. But yeah, all 3 good guys. Ron Darling
really
is outstanding, and Keith Hernandez. I'm glad you had a good time at that thing. So Coach's Collectibles, your number 1 source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. Upcoming events, Sunday, December 14th, also at Mulcahy's. 2 events, 10:30 to 11:30, a public signing with Terry Collins and umpire Tom Hallion, and from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., a signing with Mets third baseman Brett Beatty. Again, for more information on all of these events, go to coachescollectiblesny.com. Want to tell you about this Thursday show here on Sports Bash. Thursday, 1 o'clock, As you know, the World Cup is coming to the United States, Canada, and Mexico in 2026, and a big slate of games at MetLife Stadium, including the World Cup final. And we found out over the weekend the draw, the schedule, where everybody's going to play. And we are going to talk on Thursday to a longtime player on the U.S. national team. He is from Long Island, went to Adelphi, played in Major League Soccer for a number of years. And earlier this year, he was elected into the National Soccer Hall of Fame here in the United States. A great Long Island resident, played for the Long Island Rough Riders. Chris Armas, 66 caps with the U.S. men's national team, will join us here on the show Thursday to talk about the World Cup and soccer in general here in the United States. And that will do it for today's edition of Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com and Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service. Thanks to my guest, former Islander Benoit Hogue. That was unbelievable. And also, we talked a little baseball with Julian Grillarty at the baseball winter meetings. Thanks to Tony Walker, everyone here at Governors. Thanks to our social media coordinator, Leanne Burgess. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, Coaches Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. Sports Bash is back on Thursday at 1 o'clock. If you go into the Shoresy Classic tomorrow night, make sure you hit me up. Say hello. We'll see you tomorrow at UBS, and we'll see you here on Sports Bash Thursday at 1. Have a great day.